Al-Dareyn Modern School, hoyga aqoonta.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another lesson with Al-Dareyn Modern School. Today we will be learning about reported speech, and this is for grade 7. So if we move to the next slide, we will see what direct speech is. Direct and indirect speech, actually reported speech. So here, reported speech is when we tell someone what another person said. Okay? When we tell someone what another person said. To do this, we can use direct speech or indirect speech. And that's what we're going to explain, inshallah. So if we look at the examples, we have the direct speech here. It says, I work in a bank, said Daniel. So this is direct speech. Daniel is speaking. So Daniel said, I work in a bank. And then we'll put that in commas as well. We put that in quote marks, quotations. So indirect speech, Daniel said that he worked in a bank. Okay? Daniel said that he worked in a bank. So here we're reporting what Daniel said. And we're not using, we could use quotations as well, but here we're not using quotations, so we're just saying that Daniel said that he worked in a bank. So we're saying what Daniel said, and we might have to make some changes as well. I'm going to explain in the next slide. Normally you will have to change maybe the tense and the pronouns. So in the direct speech, we often use a tense which is further back in the past. For example, we will be saying worked. Okay? Then the tense originally used, work. This is called backshift. We also may need to change another word or other words that were used, for example, pronouns. Okay? So when we're changing from direct speech to indirect speech, we will make some changes. We might change the tense, and we also might change the pronoun. Okay? So I'll give you examples on that. For example, here it says, for example, the fireman said, all the children have been saved. So the fireman saved all the children. So he's speaking, and he said, all the children have been saved. And the reporter says, a fireman said that all the children have been saved. Okay, so the reporter is talking about, is telling us what the fireman said. So this is direct speech. And what the reporter said is indirect speech. Here we have direct speech and indirect speech as well. Here the grandma is saying, I'm baking cookies for Jean, okay? Or for Sean. So she's baking cookies. Then we have the indirect speech. Okay, so the mother now is telling this young boy, and she says, grandmother said she's baking cookies for you. Grandmother said she's baking cookies for you. Okay, we'll look at some other examples. Here we have direct speech and indirect speech. So the direct speech here is, she said, I can swim. We have the quotation marks. In the indirect speech, it says, she said, or it says, she said she could swim. So we can see the change. Can, could. She said, so that's her words, I can swim. But here we said, she said she could swim. Okay, here the indirect speech, it says, she said, so she's saying, I must go. I must go. Okay? And then indirect speech, she said she had to go. So we changed I must go to had to go, because we made it in the past. She said I may drive there. Okay? I may drive there. That's the words of the person who spoke. She said she might drive there. So now we've changed. You can see the change from may to might. She said she will start. Okay? She will start. She asked if she would start. So we change shall to should. She said, I'll call you. I'll call you. She said she would call me. Okay, so we changed I'll call you to I will to would. So this is direct speech and this is direct speech. The person was speaking, then you can just say I can swim without she said. But now it's we're reporting the person's speech. So there's two ways to report what the person said. You can use his exact words, or you can make changes but express the same meaning. If we have some exercises now, so let me go back. She said, I like this nasheed. Okay, so without looking at, for example, the answer, try to change it. So the answer would be, she said that he said, I like this nasheed. So when we report this speech and make an indirect speech, it becomes, he said that he liked that nasheed. So we change it to past. Okay. The next one, try not to look at the bottom line. So, where is your sister? She asked. Where is your sister? She asked. And the answer will be, she asked me where my sister was. And you can see in red what's changed. Okay, we changed it to the past. The next one, I don't speak Italian, she said. And then we can change it to, she said that she didn't speak Italian. She didn't speak Italian. Where have you spent your money? She asked. Where have you spent your money? Change it to indirect speech. It becomes, she asked him where had he spent his money. Where had he spent his money? So we've changed have to had. Okay? The next one, don't try this at home, the stuntman told the audience. Don't try this at home, kids. So the stuntman advised the audience not to try that at home. Sometimes we can use advised, expressed, suggested, okay, remarked. And you can see here it's in the past tense, advised. Okay, so you will be receiving activities or from the book, from grade 7 book. Make sure, inshallah, you do that and you try to change the reported speech from direct speech to indirect speech. Okay, so for example, if I say, do your homework, and then somebody would say to another student, the teacher said we should do our homework. Okay? The teacher said we should do our homework. So this is direct speech, indirect speech. This is very useful when you're telling stories or when you're writing a story. So you probably need this. So this is what we've learned for today. If I go back to the... Okay, so this is what we've learned today. We've learned reported speech. So when you're reporting someone's speech, you can use direct speech or indirect speech, like we've seen in the examples. And inshallah, I hope you understand and you understood. And we haven't gone into detail because this will come again in the next year, and you'll be able to study it again and again and practice it until you perfect it. So jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.